Hi and good morning. Today is the 1st of June 2020, and in most parts of the world, lockdown is still a real thing. It's like a form of prison, but it's not in a way, because you can try and work out the positive things that this lockdown is bringing, like the family bonding and the things that you're learning. I'm learning so much about the Bible, so it's a wonderful time for you to reflect and to be able to come out of this lockdown with something positive. Now, I know it's Madaraka Day in Kenya, where we say that we had the self-rule or self-governing, or we were given independence from the British, and people are celebrating, and it's a wonderful thing. But let me say this: self-rule without a foundation that builds our, not necessarily just values, but the virtues and the morals of the country. Without those, then we are not quite doing what is right. But if we have a basis on which to build our virtues and our morals and our values, then we can have the truth that makes the nation stand. So I wish all my Kenyan friends and family a wonderful Madaraka Day. But above Madaraka Day, it's not just about the self-rule. It's letting God rule our lives, because with the truth that comes from God, then we can be able to have that freedom that is actual with capital F, and we can have the virtues that build a nation. So I wish you a wonderful Madaraka Day. But above that, just remember, God's truth is the one that stands, and it's the one that helps us to build a nation that is strong. But I wasn't talking about Madaraka Day today. I want to be looking at the book of John, the Gospel according to the book of John. There are 21 chapters there, but I want to start from chapter 21 and then maybe go back to chapter 1 tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to look at chapter 21 and see the message that is in there, because when you look at the end, we can be able to see where we are going from the beginning. God always has a destiny, has an end for us. He has a promise that he has given to us. And I want to see what it is that Jesus ended with in the book of John. So when we go back to chapter 1, we can be able to refer to the end, or we can be able to have a foundational basis that is not from the beginning, which is very important though, but the whole building, the whole picture that Jesus wanted to build. In the book of John, this 21 chapter, or the 21st chapter, there are two main stories there. Two main stories. And one of the stories is of the disciples going back fishing. So they had been called to Jesus to fish for men, or rather to fish for mankind. But after Jesus had died and gone, they went back to fishing. And they went back to what they knew how to do best. But guess what? They had toiled the whole night and they didn't catch anything. But then when Jesus appeared to them, and I think this is the third time he appeared to them, he asked them to cast the nets at the wrong time of the day and when they were exhausted. But he did ask them to cast the nets again, and I think it's on the right hand side, and they will be able to catch fish. Although they may have wanted to argue with Jesus, but because it was Jesus speaking, they cast the nets anyway. And they caught a lot of fish, a lot of it, yet their nets didn't break. So at the word of Jesus, they were able to cast the nets and catch the fish. Jesus did not rebuke them for going back to their work, but he helped them to show them that he has the power to enable us to prosper in our day-to-day activities, if that's what God has called us to be. He is able to help us in our day-to-day walk, and he can help us to succeed. But then in the second part of that 21st chapter, Jesus confronts, or rather talks to Peter, and he wants to draw him back to himself. And he asked him, "Do you love me more than these?" So Jesus was he was reinstating Peter back into the main mission. It's not about fishing, the fish that they had gone back into the lake to do. It was about fishing or becoming fishers of men or fishers of mankind. So Jesus confronts Peter and says, do you love me more than this? In the way I understand that, do you love me more than these things that you hold so dear to yourself? And it's the same question I'm asking you today. Do you love Jesus, for those who say that they love Jesus, more than they love themselves, more than they love the jobs that they do, more than they love the habits that we've been caught up with, more than we love what we love so much, the things that we spend time in, the things that we spend our money on? Do we love those things more than we love Jesus? Look at what Jesus told Peter. He said to him, like, do you love me more than this? And if you love me more than this, then? And Peter said, no, I love you, Lord. You know that I love you. Then Jesus said, feed my lambs. And then Jesus asked a second time, do you love me more than this? Or do you love me? And he said, yes. Okay, take care of my sheep. Some versions say, tend my sheep. And then Jesus asked again the third time, do you love me? And Jesus said to Peter, feed my sheep. Now, that was a message to Peter, and I believe it's the same message that Jesus is giving us today, that we should feed his lambs, we should tend his sheep, we should feed his sheep. And when he says that, there are many ways of feeding them. It's the word of the truth, and then providing for them when you see a need, because as we go back, you will see how Jesus was doing these things, and it's the same things he's asking us to do. So today, my main thing was to introduce to you the 21st chapter of John, and to remind you that sometimes we tend to go back to what we are familiar with, and we forget the relationship we have with Jesus. Jesus can help us to succeed if that's what he wants us to do, but if that's not the calling upon our lives, then he will ask us to do something else. I know my Bible tells me that obedience is better than sacrifice. So if you hear the voice of Jesus, if you know the voice of God is telling you that the everyday is not what God is blessing you in, or rather the calling that God has put upon your life is this one, then we need to heed and listen and do what he's asking us to do. So Peter was given a directive to to tend and to feed the sheep and the lambs. Today, God is asking us the same, that whenever we have been given a responsibility, I'm not a pastor, but I know I have also a responsibility to use the word of God as part of the Great Commission to reach out and to make disciples of Jesus. Not disciples of Esther, no, the disciples of Jesus. And I'm praying that in the next few days, I will be able to help those who want to understand what it is to become a disciple of Jesus. What is it that Jesus is asking us to do? I know the greatest of the commandments is to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, everything we are, and also to love the other neighbor. And then we build one another in that love. So as you go about your day-to-day activities today, just remember this. It's not enough just to go back to the normal, the one that you know, the familiar. It's good to have a conversation with Jesus and ask him, what is it that you want me to do for you, Lord? Apart from the Great Commission that you've given me, what is your commandment for me today? What is it that you would like me to do today? So have a blessed day and think about it. Do you love these things? Do you love these people more than you love Jesus? Challenge yourself. When you are about to do something that you know is not right, just ask yourself, do I love these things or this person more than I love Jesus? So that it stops you from falling into sin, and then you will be attracted to the truth that is Jesus Christ, the one that is the way, the truth, and the life. Have a blessed day. Have a wonderful month ahead. And let's meet tomorrow again here to discuss the first chapter of John. So we started with chapter 21 but we will now tomorrow go back to the first chapter and see the beginning of this end. God bless you.